Guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be showing you guys what I packed for lunch this week for graduate school. So if you're looking for any lunch ideas for work or for school, just keep on watching. On Monday I made a bagel egg sandwich, so I cracked 4 eggs and I added some salt and some pepper and I mixed this together to scramble. And I added some butter to a pan and cooked this omelet style. I added some turkey to the center of my omelet and then I flipped it over and folded it 2 times until it was fully cooked. I added a slice of mozzarella cheese and put a lid over it to melt it. In the meantime, I toasted my bagel and then I cut up 2 mandarin cuties and put them in a little container. And I'm also having this with some tea that I made. This has turmeric, ginger, and some lime. I put my omelet in the center of my bagel and then I packed my bagel into a circular Tupperware and packed everything up. On Tuesday, I wanted an easy lunch, so I warmed up some tamales. I got these from my local Hispanic store, and these are from El Salvador. And I read the instructions in the back, and it had the option to boil them, so that's what I did according to the instructions. For a side snack, I cut up some pears, and I also did 1 mandarin cutie. And unfortunately, my tamales were unraveled in the process of boiling. Only one of them survived, and that was so sad because what a waste of food. But I decided to wrap these up in a wet napkin and pop them in the microwave and reheat them that way. After these were done, I took them out and checked the internal temperature to make sure that they weren't cold in the middle. And then I did a total of 3. These tamales ended up being really good. I think I'm going to continue purchasing them. I packed everything up and then I went off to class. That same night when I came back from school, I decided to make beef stew. I'm seasoning with some oregano, onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, sazon culantro y achote, some soy sauce, and some Dominican sazon, which has a lot of peppers and garlic. After everything was blended, I decided to heat up some brown sugar just to burn it a little bit and add in my meat so that it could have a nice color to it. After browning one side, I did the same thing to the other side. And when my meat was nice and brown, I decided to dump it into a separate container and then I started sauteing some onions and some garlic. Next I added some store-bought beef broth and I did some tomato sauce as well. I decided to season this with some black pepper and some oregano. And eventually I just ended up adding the entire can of tomato sauce. I poured my meat back in and I mixed this up. And I put a lid over this and cooked it for 2 hours. And after 2 hours, I added my potatoes. I had these softened and added a little bit of water. And I added a lot of water as I went. I then added some carrots, mixed this together, put a lid on it, added some peas because I had some peas in the fridge I needed to get rid of. And I did some red and yellow peppers. And look at the color. I love the color of this dish. After my beef stew was done, I laid out my Tupperware and I did some white rice on the side and I poured my beef stew over my rice. And this is a dish that I also had throughout the week because I made large portions of it. On Wednesday, I took my stew out of the fridge and I paired it with my tea again, some plantain chips, and these power bites that I got from Walmart. And I did not like them at all, but I couldn't stop eating them for some reason. I don't know if that makes sense. It was just kind of a weird combination of flavors, but it wasn't too terrible. So I ate it. On Thursday, I decided to make some Dominican hot chocolate, and here I have my embajador, which is some chocolate cubes. I added this to some boiling water and I added some clavo dulce and malagueta, which is allspice and sweet cloves. I added 2 sticks of cinnamon and some evaporated milk. I did some vanilla extract and ended up adding a pinch of salt. When my chocolate was done, I packed it in a mason jar and took it to school. I did not pack any lunch because I wanted to treat myself to Panera, so I picked up my order and I had this bowl with like chicken and avocado and rice, and it was pretty good. I had my hot chocolate on the side and I decided to get the bread on the side with my bowl so that I could dip my hot chocolate. The next day I decided to make some meatballs, so I'm starting with some ground turkey. I'm seasoning with onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, adobo, and some soy sauce. I'm cracking one egg and adding some plain panko crumbs. I'm mixing this together with my fingers and forming medium-sized balls, trying to make sure that they're all the same size so that they cook evenly. After forming my balls, I added some oil to my pan and I began to cook these. And when one side was browned, I flipped them over to the next side and I put a lid over it. Now I'm just getting my potatoes ready. I'm gonna accompany this with some mashed potatoes and I'm gonna boil this in some salted water. My meatballs were done, so I set them aside and I began to saute some white onion, red peppers, and yellow peppers. And then I added some marinara sauce, and this is a sauce that I got a while back at Marshall's, surprisingly. And I seasoned this with some caldo de pollo or chicken bouillon powder. After that, I poured over my meatballs and I coated them in this sauce. I put a little over it and set them aside. When my potatoes were cooked, I added some butter, some evaporated milk, some sour cream, and I seasoned this with some black pepper and mashed this all together. I decided to pair this dish with a side of blanched asparagus, which I thought was a pretty good combo, and this dish was really good. For Friday's lunch, I'm having a chicken salad sandwich, and here I have some canned chicken that I drained. And I'm going to add some white onion and some green bell pepper as well as red bell peppers. Now I'm going to do 2 scoops of mayonnaise and season this with some garlic powder, and then I'm going to do black pepper and mix this together. When that was done, I stored it in the fridge so the flavors can set. And the next day I toasted up 2 bagels. When those were ready and toasted, I wrapped them in an aluminum foil. I took my chicken salad out of the fridge. I wrapped some cutlery in a napkin, did 2 mandarin cuties, and my ginger tea with turmeric and lime, and I went off to class. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next one.